Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into the upcoming 2025 Marvel film, Thunderbolts.
Yeah, big one coming up.
Definitely. Our mission, basically, is to pull out the key stuff about this team. Yeah, they're antiheroes, right? And figure out where they fit in the MCU now, especially after, Endgame changed everything.
Right. This is your briefing, your fast track to getting up to speed on this rather unusual team.
Exactly. We've been looking at some source material, this pasted text, and it gives a pretty good rundown of the movie.
The characters, the plot, yeah. Even some early buzz about it.
And the thing that jumps out right away is this core idea. You've got this team of, let's call them reformed antiheroes, maybe reformed, stepping in where the Avengers used to be.
That's the hook, isn't it? It immediately makes you ask, well, what does that mean for heroism in the MCU? Can these guys with all their baggage really be the new standard?
It's a big question.
Okay, so let's dig into that premise. Post-Endgame, the world still needs saving, obviously, but instead of Captain America and Iron Man,
you get this this collection, quite the lineup.
Yeah, Yelena Belova, who's still dealing with her black-widowed ass.
And Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier. His whole redemption arc is just ongoing.
Always. Then there's Red Guardian, larger than life.
John Walker, U.S. agent, still very morally gray after Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Very. And Ghost, Taskmaster. It's a real mix of skills and questionable histories.
And the person supposedly putting them together is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine, the CIA director.
Played by Julia Louis-Dreyfus, yeah. And her motives, completely up in the air, according to the text.
Is she trying to create stability, or is it something sneakier?
We don't know. And the central conflict described, it's interesting. It's not like Thanos V2 right out of the gate.
No, apparently the team gets caught in some kind of trap.
In New York.
And the text suggests Valentina herself set it up.
Whoa, okay. So their first mission is basically escaping their boss.
Seems like it might be. It's definitely not the usual assemble the team to fight the big bad intro. It really flips the script, doesn't it? Usually they unite against, an alien invasion or something.
Right. Here the threat seems internal, maybe, from the person who recruited them.
Which brings us back to that appeal of these morally gray characters. Why do we find them so interesting? They're not exactly paragons of virtue.
Well, I think it's because they feel a bit more real, flawed anyway. Yeah. They make mistakes. They operate in that murky area. It's maybe a more nuanced take on people, even in spandex.
Yeah, that makes sense. It forces you to think about what being a hero even means if it's not just about being perfect.
Exactly. Okay, so let's zoom in on some of the original members mentioned. Yelena Belova first. Florence Pugh.
Yes, everyone loves her performance.
Yeah.
And she's back, still wrestling with, her past, Natasha's legacy.
The source text really points that out, her internal struggle. There's that vulnerability under the sarcasm and skills.
Totally. It connects. Okay, Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier.
His journey's been huge. Brainwashed assassin trying to find peace.
And the text drops this bombshell. He's apparently a member of the U.S. Congress now.
Yeah. I mean, that's a twist.
How does that work?
It's a fascinating development. It sort of pushes the idea of rehabilitation, maybe, even in this crazy world. How does a former assassin navigate Capitol Hill?
You have to wonder, can he ever really leave the Winter Soldier behind in that setting?
We'll see. Then there's David Harbour as Red Guardian.
Oh, he's fantastic. So over the top, but the text mentions his father figure role.
Yeah.
Especially with Yelena.
Right. That dynamic adds like an emotional core, some heart and humor amidst all the punching.
It makes them feel more grounded somehow.
Definitely. Okay, John Walker, U.S. agent. Wyatt Russell.
His arc in Falcon and Winter Soldier was intense.
Understatement. Yeah. He's all about that struggle with power, duty, what's right, often getting it wrong.
So putting him on this team, where does he even fit? Does he lean into the anti-hero thing or try for redemption?
That's the question, isn't it? He really embodies that theme of, the dark side of wanting to do good.
And Ghost. And a John Kamen.
The text says she's got better control of her powers now. Calmer, more decisive.
Oh, that's interesting, because her powers seemed like such a burden before.
Yeah, almost unstable. So maybe she's found some peace, or at least more control. That could make her a very different kind of asset to the team.
And Taskmaster, Olga Kurilenko.
The Mimic. Able to copy any fighting style.
Which is just such a cool power set for a team like this.
Absolutely. Adds a wild card element. Strategically, having someone who can mirror any opponent, that's huge.
Okay, so that's the core group. But the text also mentions two new faces. Bob, played by Louis Pullman,
who's apparently based on Sentry from the comics.
Right, and the text says he has a devastating secret that could threaten the planet.
Whoa. Okay, so the stakes just went way, way up.
Yeah, suddenly it's not just about escaping a trap in New York.
No, if he's got planet-threatening potential,
Yeah.
that could force this messy team into a more traditionally heroic role, maybe, whether they like it or not.
Interesting angle. And the other new one is Mel, Geraldine Viswanathan.
Possibly based on Songbird, the text suggests.
We don't know much about her role yet, but a fresh face in this group.
Could definitely shake things up, new dynamics, new perspectives. Could be a catalyst for change within the team itself.
Yeah, you need that sometimes. Okay, let's talk themes. The big picture.
Right. The source material highlights redemption, mental health, complex family dynamics.
Which makes sense looking at these characters. Yelena and Red Guardian, Bucky's whole existence.
Exactly. It seems like they're really leaning into the idea that these aren't just action figures, they're people dealing with serious stuff.
Which adds depth, right? Makes them more relatable even with the superpowers. The mental health angle feels pretty relevant too.
Very much so. And it all feeds into that central theme, the blurred line between hero and villain.
Yeah, they're definitely not clear-cut goodies. They operate in the gray.
And that's the hook, really. Does trying to do good justify, well, bad methods? Can people like this actually find redemption? Big questions.
The text even mentions the director, Jake Schreier, and Kevin Feige talking about this focus on flawed characters.
So it's intentional. They want to explore this territory, move beyond the squeaky clean heroes, maybe, keep things feeling fresh.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How these ideas connect to, just regular life outside of superheroes.
Sure. Okay, what about how it's being received? Any early word? The text touches on that.
Yeah, it seems mixed. Some positive buzz.
Like what?
Apparently it's entertaining. Florence Pugh, again, getting singled out for praise. And the action is described as grounded.
Okay, grounded action can be good. Less CGI heavy, maybe.
Perhaps. Yeah. But there's negative feedback, too. Some found the tone depressing.
Depressing. Okay.
And the villain apparently underwhelming. Some critics even suggested it felt more like a Disney Plus series than a big movie.
Ouch. Well, that happens. Streaming quality is high now, but still.
Yeah, it shows how subjective it all is.
Right.
One person's engaging deep dive is another's downer.
Exactly. These are just initial takes, too. You really have to see it for yourself.
So wrapping up our deep dive here on Thunderbolts, what we're seeing is, well, a very different kind of MCU team-up.
Definitely. Morally ambiguous characters, probably forced together by Valentina, maybe even trapped by her initially.
Dealing with big themes, redemption, mental health, what heroism even looks like now.
And the early reactions reflect that unique approach. Some find it entertaining and praise the actors. Others are unsure about the tone or the villain.
It's clearly trying something different, pushing the boundaries of the typical superhero story by focusing on these deeply flawed individuals.
Yeah, the focus is squarely on their messy humanity.
Which leads us to that final thought for you, listening. When you have a team like this, antiheroes, people with dark pasts, questionable methods, what does it actually mean to be a hero in the MCU going forward?
How could their actions, driven by who they are, maybe redefine that whole concept for this universe?
Yeah. What qualities do we really value in heroes? Makes you think, doesn't it?